Sit back and relax while I listen to Trainkickers podcast. I'm David, along with my co-hosts Dan and Steve. We're going to take you all down the world of miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, we're going to continue our deep dive through the Horus Heresy. Tonight we're on the 12th Legion, so we're going through the World Eaters. Just as before, we're going to discuss every facet of them. We are going to be doing the Primarchs later, and the Rites of War is going to be a separate release. Now, if you listen to the podcast form of this, the Rites of War videos have started coming out on YouTube first, because for the podcast, rather than just flood it with tons of them at once, I'm going to probably pull those together, or at least pull a few together, maybe Traitor and Loyalist. I haven't decided exactly how I want to do that, but I figured that might be a spot where I don't want to have tons of unnumbered items as well. So if you do want to listen to the ones we've done so far, they are available on the YouTube. Also, just asking now for anyone who does happen to watch, listen, or anything like that, likes, shares, subscribes, all that kind of stuff really does help us. We've had a whole lot of growth lately. We've been recording a whole lot more often. We've been getting a lot of both good traction and been really enjoying ourselves with what we've been doing. And the feedback has been pretty good. As always, feel free to reach out if you have any thoughts. Otherwise, now on to the show. All right, and we are back at it again with another Legion for Horus Heresy. We got through the first half. We went back and did the recordings for the Rites of War, which are actively being put out as we speak. And now we're on to the back half. So tonight's episode, we're going to go through the 12th Legion, World Eaters. For anyone who is new, just starting to listen to us here, we're going to go through everything about them. We are going to skip Primarchs for the time being. We will go back and we'll discuss all the Primarchs and that sort of thing at a later point. Also, the Rites of War is going to be a separate video. In the beginning, we weren't doing them just due to time for how long some of these recordings were. And we don't want to mix up the way in which we are putting out the content currently. So we're going to keep doing it that way. Now, where we're going to start then is a little bit of the fluff. Now, as a sort of caveat to this, we always discuss ahead of time who wants to talk about the fluff, who either knows about them, remembers something cool about them, or is more interested than the others. For this particular Legion, it seemed none of us knew that much about it, so the bits I'm going to mention, I'll talk about them, but the bits I'm going to mention are more from what's in the main rulebook. I do remember one particular other story that I read, and I'll talk a little bit about that, but otherwise we'll take it mostly from the main book, just to kind of give a very brief overview of these guys. All right, so for the World Eaters, they were originally known as the Warhounds. That was a name given to them by the Emperor. Essentially, as they were building up and mustering their numbers, they were held back a lot. The Emperor really held them back during the Unification Wars and all. Some of the belief is that they were held back to make sure he had, sort of the hammer to strike back in case in some way they would falter in the wars or anything like that. But because of this, because of how tenacious and courageous and just almost to an extent bloodthirsty, although they don't necessarily describe it that way in the beginning, but it's sort of a lesser form than the Blood Angels had of that. He called them the Warhounds. Actually, in the second line, they talk about them being bloodthirsty, although I always had a feeling that, or at least from the parts that I read, it always seemed like more like when Angron came back, that became bigger issue with them, or a bigger facet to them. In the beginning, I mean, they were always about, trial by combat, close combat, you can have tons and tons of vehicles, that's fine, but you have those vehicles to get you into close combat. We bring tanks because we might need to break down the wall so we can get inside and fight everyone there. And that was sort of their tactic. They had little concern for any devastation, destruction, or losses on their side or the enemies in any way. We fast forward to when they find Angron. And Dan, you said you knew a good bit about him, so I'll have you talk about that in a moment.
Yeah. So Angron is a very interesting character, and I dare say, and this is maybe controversial, but I dare say he's probably one of the more tragic characters in the Horus Heresy by far. Angron, of course, lands on a world, as they all did, but instead of finding either a loving father or just really any parental supervision whatsoever, essentially Angron gets made into essentially a gladiator where he fights in the fighting pits. That's also where he gets the very infamous nails. The nails are basically these. You can actually look at it in the Angron model, and also in the new model that's coming out, the demonized Angron. But it's essentially looks like almost tentacles coming out of the back of his head. They're basically hooked up to his. I forgot what part of the brain it is. It actually goes into detail. But essentially, it gives you extreme amounts of pain unless you're fighting. So it's kind of
Yeah.
you need to be fighting all the time.
Yeah, it
Um,
mentions in the book for the butcher's nails that, it makes them better fighters, more bloodthirsty, but it means they actually take no joy or anything like that unless they're actively in combat. That's the
yeah,
only way that they
yeah.
get peace.
Um, so the big thing with him is that he actually led a gladiatorial uprising, very much like Spartacus. And during this uprising, the emperor actually came to him and said, "Hey, listen, you're my son. I have a whole legion for you." And Angron goes, "No, I want to fight with my brothers. I want to fight with, my gladiators. I want to get peace." So in the final battle, as he's charging forward with his brothers, the emperor says, "Nah, screw that." Teleports Angron back onto his ship, and Angron just basically watches all of his brothers die. It's and that kind of almost starts the end for Angron because for a very long time he was in the ship and his legions wanted to meet their father, but every time they sent someone in there to meet with him or talk with him, he would just kill them, rip them apart. And I think it was Kharn, the first one, that kind of got to him
Yeah.
to kind of understand him. And the reason I say he's a tragic figure is because the nails are kind of warped his personality, obviously. But and I'm a Custodes player, so this is gonna be hard to say. But I'm also a Dark Mechanica player, so fuck the Emperor. Um, the Emperor taking him off of that battle when he was charging with his brothers, I think, is one of the biggest, dumbest, defining moments of like really stupid, not writing, but like just in terms of the Emperor not thinking ahead. Because Angron uses that kind of shame almost and he turns it into anger towards the emperor. So anyway, just kind of little bits about Angron.
Yeah, I remember now at the top of my head, I can't remember what story it was. I remember I listened to an audiobook, the part where, he's essentially in the belly of the ship, killing anyone from his legion who comes forward
Yep.
until he finally talks. I'm pretty sure I agree with that. I think it's Kharn, and I don't think Kharn was necessarily alone at that moment with him, but they were able to make him realize, like, no, we essentially idolize you. Like, you're going to be our leader. We're your new group in clan or anything like that. So he ends up putting the butcher's nails, a form of that, into his legion. It takes a bit. They have to end up figuring out how to do it correctly, but once they do, all new recruits get it, and any past recruits who want it, who are willing to go through it, are able to do that as well. And that just, turns up their ferocity and makes it, as you mentioned, Dan, that it was very easy to sway them to Horus. Although even without that, even if, say, he let him fight and Angron lives through the fight and everything like that, I don't think the end result would have been much different at all. I don't think there was a chance he was going to side with the Emperor on any of it. Um, you,
So
you,
you think it was the nails that kind
I
of did
think it
it?
was yes, although
All
I
right.
will also say,
No,
the legions show a bit of their Primarch, obviously, and they show a decent bit of that to an extent before they even meet their Primarch. Before they met Angron, it's not like, they weren't already kind of the world eaters that you see. He kind of turned them up to 11, but they were already sitting at an 8 and a 9. So, I remember reading about it. He's I think the first one during the massacre who goes down to actually, kill any of the loyalists left, and specifically his legion who was staying loyal. I remember reading all about that. So I think maybe he wouldn't have been the first one to sign up, but I don't think he wasn't going to take Horus aside. I think that was essentially going to happen, assuming the heresy happens. Like, he wasn't instrumental in making it happen, And I think just for
Essentially.
who he was and what position he was in, it was going to be a guarantee for him.
Oh, I will say, robbing him of his battle, or like, I remember, like, it's so, this was, of course, long ago when I read the book, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
God, that book came out years ago, in the pre-COVID times. But, I remember what really stuck with me was, he wasn't angry.
He wanted to stay and die there.
Yeah, not even die, but he just wanted.
He
Oh, did he want to die? Okay.
he wanted to fight with them, and he figured. From what I remember reading, it was more of like, I'm gonna stay. We're probably all gonna die there. You know, it wasn't necessarily like to win. It was to be together and fight that fight.
You know, I always had one of those like what if scenarios. I hate what if scenarios. My kids always ask me like what if scenarios in my history class, and it was like I don't fucking know. But there is a what if scenario in my head. Like, let's say he does have the butcher's nails, but I've always wondered what would have happened had the emperor like helped him in the fight. You know, beamed down his legion to help his warriors. I wonder if that would have, because Angron, for anything, Angron was still not, I shouldn't say loyal, but he was honorable. Angron was still honorable. You know what I mean?
Maybe to some extent at that point.
Yes, but I mean, I'll put it this way. Technically, Kurz is fighting for justice. I mean, he's flaying the skin of his enemies, but you know what I mean? Like, to a certain point, he was still honorable. So it's very interesting. I don't know. It's always one of those what if things. Like, I always wondered what would have happened had the Emperor just kind of did that.
They don't write what ifs for this. This isn't Marvel, so they don't go into that, because certain things like that would be interesting. I mean, we can always do a separate discussion one day if we want, when we've read up a bit more, to discuss sort of potential changes and things that could have happened.
It's always put like it's always put like a little kind of smile on my face, like, you know, well, that's interesting. Anyway, just a little side note.
All right, so let's get on to their trait. Who wants to take the trait?
I don't know. It's a really heavy trait.
There's just a lot of words here, Steve.
So complicated. I
always hate when people do that. When they always do the not even burying the lead, but the like, I'm gonna say stuff that's the opposite of the thing. I don't know why.
Really? That's a pet peeve. Oh,
yeah,
that's interesting.
I don't mind it in all things, but especially when I listen, because there's other podcasts I listen to. Obviously, I listen to, I don't know, a couple dozen a week. But on one of them, I'm not going to name names, but one of them, they do that. And I'm always like, but why? Just like, talk about it. Like, we all know what you're going to say.
Fair,
we're aware.
To be fair, because I played games with you, you know, I played games with you, 30K, and you do tend to be very literal sometimes. So no, that's true. That is true. I can see that.
I'm a reasonably literal person, but also like, I don't know why. For some reason, that always was the thing with me.
That's interesting.
All right. So who wants to actually take this thing?
Anyway, Steve,
okay,
go ahead.
I'll take it.
There you go.
So world leaders are very simple to understand what their legion trait is. If you charge successfully, you get 1 extra attack.
That counts even if disordered, which is big.
Yeah, even if disordered. Even if disordered. That's very important.
Which means if it's ordered, you're getting 2 extra attacks. If you don't have rules such as rage, if you're disordered, you're still getting +1.
Yeah.
So it's just a flat +1 attack when you charge, which is really nice.
Yeah. So if you're disordered, you still get the +1. If you make a normal charge, you're at +2. Very simple. Very nice. It's funny. I will mention. There's a player at our store, right, who plays World Leaders, and I always laugh because we got to sit there and make sure that he has the right amount of attacks, because he's shortchanged himself before, right? Yeah. So we'll be like, all right, 3 attacks. All right, 1 for the charge. All right, 1 for the Legion. All right, 1 for the Rite of War. Like, we have to 1 for double weapons. So we have to sit there and be like, all right, okay, this dude's got 7 attacks. It's just really funny.
Yeah. These guys, as we go through them, it's going to be clear. They have one purpose. They have one aim. We've talked about Allegiance, like when we went through like Emperor's Children, like, oh, okay, hey, their trait really leads them towards this. Their reaction kind of leads them towards this, so you can see an aim. But you could branch out. These guys, as we read through more and more, and as I've read through more and more, no, they kind of have like one thing they like to do.
Open-ended. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Not much more we can say about that. That's, very useful. You're going to want to charge, and you will be charging.
They get a little bit more out of their war gear section that builds on this, but Yeah,
Yeah.
the trait itself,
Advanced reaction.
exceptionally straightforward.
And their advanced reaction is really good.
All right, why don't you talk about their advanced reaction then?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, sure. So, obviously, the advanced reaction only can be done by world eaters and once a game. So, once per battle during the opponent's shooting phase, when the enemy unit declares a shooting attack targeting a friendly unit with the infantry unit type, under the reactive player control with the Legion Astartes World Eater special rule, all models in the reacting unit gain the 5-up feel no pain special rule against all wounds afflicted as part of the shooting attack that triggers this reaction. If the reacting unit already has a version of this feel no pain special rule, then this is not stacked to increase the rule. So you get 5-up, flat 5-up. Or you can, I should point out, or you may choose to use any feel no pain special rule available.
Yeah,
so if you want to use a 6-up, well, if you want to use a better one, I'm trying to think of what. Oh, I guess if you're on an objective with an apothecary.
Yes.
With like tactical marines. Okay. Once the shooting attack has been completely resolved, the reacting unit may make a charge, following all the normal rules for charging, targeting the enemy unit that made the shooting attack. Cough, cough. This is what was missing from Emperor's Children. The enemy unit may not make a reaction to this charge. So, essentially, the too long didn't hear is you get shot, you declare this reaction, you get a 5-up feel no pain against any wounds inflicted, and then you may immediately make a charge. I will say that essentially this is almost a word, not a word for word, but almost a almost copy of the Raven Guard reaction, where instead of feel no pain, you get shrouded. Except shrouded 4-up, which is different. But this is really cool. I love this. You get shot, you get a 5 feel no pain, and you get a charge out of this in their shooting phase. It doesn't get better than that. I can't think of any downsides to this.
No, your advanced reactions don't often have the downside. It's whether or not how well they fit, or how well they do, and what they do for you. They're usually never bad, I would say.
Yeah, I can't think of any way this would not fit the world eater. This is just, I get shot, I go forward with a feel no pain. It's just amazing.
Yeah. The one thing in this one to notice compared to the other shooting phase reactions is this one does say when you were declared essentially as the target. So it's not after you hit, see how many, because what's the reaction's name for the shrouded?
I just call it shrouded.
Yeah, the base reaction that gives you shrouded. That one is done essentially after you've failed saves, but before guys start getting removed. So you have an idea of how bad it is. This you are declaring when someone targets you. But since you're going to be charging afterwards, honestly, the first part is nice. It's the being able to charge afterwards that's probably the big thing, because then you're not going to take an Overwatch later on your turn or have them charge you, where then you don't get your bonus. So the feel no pain is a very useful part, but you're probably using this because you're in a decent position to charge. So, but that's an important distinction to make off of the wording, of course, and they could always change wording.
Yeah. No, so it's just and I've had this used against me multiple times. And it's funny too, because the assault marine, the humble assault marine, it's 2 attacks, strength 4, weapon skill 4, moves pretty fast, but really not the biggest threat on the battlefield. We haven't talked about chain axes yet, but you take that same assault marine, toss him with a chain axe, add this rule to him, because now he gets a +2 to the charge, I believe, right? Can I do that movement chart? Right?
Why would he have additional movement? Oh, because of his jump pack you're talking about?
Yeah. So it's so now he's +2 with a chain axe, getting a whole bunch of attacks. This pumps up assault marines to very scary levels of. It's get out of here.
I'm trying to remember. I don't have the chart.
I'm pretty sure 14's the +3.
Is 14 the +3? Is the chart spread out more later? Oh yeah, here it is.
Really
no, +2. You're right. Yeah, 11 and 12. Oh, that's why it's 8 to 10 is the one. Yeah, 11 and 12 is the 2.
Fun fact: because we're going to be talking about Rite of Wars now with world leaders. One of the Rites of War, I believe, adds another additional inch to this charge as well. So
Let's
it's just
find out in a separate video when we talk about it.
yeah, we'll start on a separate video. But I'm almost certain that there is that Rite of War that does that. So it's just no, this is a great advanced reaction, and it plays so well to their Legion.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was simple to talk about because they're just nice and straightforward. We can get to these Warlord traits. Does anyone have one in particular they want to talk about?
Oh, they all look cool. I just talked, so someone else take the first one.
I'll tackle Blood Hunger
Okay.
since it's been kind of quiet.
There you go.
So, Blood Hunger. It's the trader-only Warlord trait for the Legion. The other two are open to others, but Blood Hunger. A Warlord of this trait gains a bonus wound whenever a melee attack it is made causes an enemy model to be removed as a casualty. This may raise the model's wound score above its starting value, but no higher than 6 wounds. In addition, a Warlord with this trait, and a unit it's joined, must declare a charge in any of the controlling player's assault phases, where there is an enemy unit within 12 inches and line of sight of the Warlord or its unit, and must always target the closest enemy unit if possible. Furthermore, an army whose Warlord has this trait can make an additional reaction during the opposing player's movement phase, as long as their Warlord has not been removed as a casualty. So essentially, your Warlord, he's charging shit all the time. Whatever's closest, he's going to grab it, rip it apart. And if he does so successfully, he's getting another wound.
ABC, always be charging.
Yeah. Fun fact, I know we talked about this recently, but I know one of my friends uses this. He plays
World Leaders?
called Fury of the Legion. The World Leaders, but he plays the Rite of War with the Dreadnoughts.
Fury of the Ancients.
Fury of the Ancients.
I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about that.
So he does play this. And he doesn't abuse it. He doesn't take like 9 contemptors. But he literally only uses this Warlord trait in Fear of the Ancients to get the 1 Warlord contemptor. I think he just takes 2 more after that. He takes the 1 Warlord contemptor with Blood Hunger. And it's the funniest thing in the world.
As a way to heal it up. Because it wouldn't be able to gain any extra wounds above its starting because the max is 6 and it's at 6, but it can heal up.
It has Eternal Warrior and it's healing. So yeah, that's nuts. That's fun. As the player.
Well, no, it wasn't bad. Because again, he doesn't take like 9 contemptors and 3 Leviathans or whatever. He takes only 3 contemptors at all times because that's all he owns. But he literally takes Fury of the Ancients just for this Warlord trait, just for his contemptor. And it's been fun. Like his contemptor has died before, obviously, to just mass fire. But it's really funny because I think at one game I saw him, it was like on 1 or 2 wounds, and he just cleaves through a unit and gains wounds back. It was hilarious.
Yeah, because notice it's not limited to once per phase or turn or anything like that. It's when you kill someone, you can go up wounds to a max of 6. So if you can kill multiple things and you're really injured, you gain all your wounds back.
Oh yeah, it was such a cool thing to see, and it was neat. That was like a neat usage of the trait.
Yeah.
But so stupid question because of course I play Mechanicum and I have no idea. How many wounds does a Praetor have normally?
How many wounds does what have?
I have a real book. How many wounds does a Praetor? Let's say in Cataphractic, because I know they gain a wound. 4?
Yeah,
Cataphractic gets 4.
Yeah, essentially,
otherwise,
when you get the big armors, you get an extra wound. Is really the way it works.
You know what? I don't mind this as a Warlord trait for like a Cataphracti, because 4 wounds is not bad. And I know the other World Leaders player runs the World Leader guy with what's that special weapon? The stupid blades.
We'll get to it.
Blades?
Yeah, I think they're called Phalanx blades. But he runs them with like it's either Phalanx or Phalanx. I can't remember the name. We'll get to it. But that also is pretty damn good for him. You know, he doesn't run this Warlord trait, but it's still a pretty cool trait for someone. It's just a good trait.
Well, I
it.
think the part you have to keep in mind is this trait is really more for Praetors. Like, okay, yeah, you can do it in your Fury of the Ancients on your Contemptor, but that's sort of the outside case, I would say. We definitely want to look at this as like, would you want a Praetor to have this? Not, do you want your like one very particular special army to have
Hold on. There is a Contemptor in the starter box, Dave. It can be that
you technically can't run Fury of the Ancients out of the starter.
You need multiple. Okay,
yes. Your compulsory troops have to be Contemptors.
Ah, got it.
Yep.
So you still need 2 more contenders.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
But
I got so excited.
having to charge, I mean, you want to be charging. You do have control over your movement. You have extra movement phase reaction, which is nice. Having to charge, though, especially if they can, if it's better to stay like at 13 than get to 11 or 12 inches from a unit if you don't have, say, a lot of bonuses, because they're just going to get to potentially shoot you. Your charge probably isn't going to work and they might walk back. So you have to be careful, I think, with the fact that you're going to be forced to charge of exactly where you want to position yourself. But overall, I like it. I think it's pretty good.
Ooh, one interesting, you just brought up something that was really interesting too. One weird, interesting buff is that if you're playing Alpha Legion, you always have that extra 2 inches of free range not to make a free assault.
True.
Or not free. Because they always kind of stuff in -2.
Yes. All right.
Huh. Neat. I just realized.
Do you want the Cloaked in Blood or the Butcher's Claws?
I think Butcher's Claws. That sounds cool. I like that one.
So I'll do Cloaked in Blood then, because that's the next one up. It says any model that is not a World Leader, it doesn't have the World Leader special rule, must reduce its leadership by -2 when it's locked in combat with this Warlord or any unit that includes the Warlord. In addition, armies whose Warlord has this trait may make an additional reaction during the opposing player's movement phase, as long as he's still alive. I mean, leadership is huge. You're gonna have to be you want to be getting into combat. Your army is going to be getting into combat. That is its entire goal. So already putting them on lower leadership, assuming you win the combat and you're getting extra attacks, you hopefully should. You shouldn't be going into something where you're going to lose. But assuming you're going to win, already at an extra -2 means even if you barely beat them in the combat, it's going to be much easier to make them fail.
This is interesting. Okay, so check this out. So it's not fear, right? It's like a fake fear.
It is fake. Yeah,
it's
fear
a fear
would
that
stack
can't
with
be
this.
ignored. No, it's also can't be like if you're fearless. This still, I think, fearless just ignores fear.
No, fearless
Fearless
take
is
morale.
auto pass morale.
Yeah, you wouldn't take the morale.
But here's the fun part. If I'm not mistaken, concussive is taken off of leadership.
Yes, this is true.
Are there concussive weapons? I mean, not just world leader weapons.
Not in the base melee list, but maybe there is a world leaders one.
I'll just check real quick. Let me scroll down for 5 seconds. No, there isn't. No. All right, never mind then. I got really excited because I was gonna say if you had like a concussive, I don't know. I know Thunderhammers aren't concussive anymore, but let's say you had a concussive weapon. This is pretty damn nasty because you concuss the entire unit.
Let's say you had something that we can't find. Got it.
No, well, no, because I thought they had a concussive weapon. I didn't look down at their weapons yet.
That's all right. Yeah, but
oh man, okay.
So that makes it. The other one so far is trader only. I kind of like that one a little bit more. This one, I do like this one. The thing is, I kind of see it as you probably don't need the leadership lowering versus the units you're more likely to sweep because you're probably already beating their faces in. And a lot of your tougher units have stubborn or inexorable or something like that. So they wouldn't be taking negatives. Would they take it for any of this? How is stubborn actually worded? Stubborn always goes off of base leadership. What's the actual wording?
Stubborn ignores leadership modifiers. This does not bypass stubborn.
Yeah.
But it kind of works against psychers.
Yes. It absolutely works against psychers, which is very fitting.
That's a route.
Okay.
That's a wider use that fear doesn't get. So it's something.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about psychic weapons. No, you're right. No.
Something.
Yeah. It's not bad.
You're 100% right.
It's fine. It's just not my favorite so far. We'll see if the Butcher's Claws is any better.
It's cool. It's neat. All right, Butcher's Claws. When a warlord with this trait in all models with the Legion Astartes World Leader special rule in a unit that's my dog in the background, gains a bonus attack from the Violence Incarnate Clause of the Legion Astartes World Leader. So that's when they get the bonus attack from their
charging.
Their Legion special rule.
Yeah.
They also gain +1 strength for the remainder of that turn. On top of that, you have an extra assault phase reaction. As long as you're not removed.
That's so much better than Cloaked in Blood.
Yeah. This is the one. So funny enough, we have 2 World Leaders players in the store. One of them runs the Butcher's Claws. And one of them runs the Blood Hunger. And this one's really good, by the way. Sorry, we didn't even comment on this. I like this one. It's not trader only, so you can be loyalist world eaters and still run this. And if you're gonna get the +1 attack, you might as well get the +1 strength, because spoiler alert, when we get to the weapons, the chain axe, which they can just kind of take, already has a +1 strength modifier on it. So this becomes +2 strength on the charge, meaning you are strength 6, which is, oh, that's spicy against Space Marines, that's spicy against Mechanicum, that's spicy against a lot of things.
All right. Well, let's face it. The +1 attack in general is nice. +1 strength feels, to many extents, almost a bit better, because against those units that you're going to have, if you're going against like a tech squad, you are going to kill them. I don't care if you have the extra attack or not. They're probably just dead anyway with your assault force.
No. Wound from 3s to 2s is still nice.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was going to say. Your +1 attack there isn't really going to be doing you all that much overall. You're already doing well. But the +1 strength, I think, is the bigger indicator. So, getting both is obviously a bonus. But being able to get the extra strength now versus equals, because that's where my thought comes in. When I'm charging someone who's reasonably equal to me, when I have my Terminators charging your Terminators, because that's a spot where we can get bogged down, or a little bit better on, random die rolls might mean you win instead of me. Having the extra strength, being able to wound that much easier, I think is going to be what really makes that big difference. So the extra attack, very useful. Being also having it at +1 strength, I don't see wanting, if I'm not like a contemptor, I don't see wanting anything other than this one.
Yep. And like I said, as a person who plays Mechanicum, this means you now wound pretty much everything on a 3. And you wound Castellax on a 4.
Yeah.
Or sorry, apologies. I lied. Oh, no, yeah, you go to strength 6. No, yeah. So you wound Castellax on a 4 with Shred. And you wound pretty much everything else in Mechanicum on a 3.
Yeah.
Which is...
It also, the more that you can get wounds through works well, and it triggers off of exactly when you want on the turns you charge, and your whole goal is to be charging people. So it even emphasizes all the more for that unit to be trying to charge, because your Warlord unit isn't probably going against the little piddly stuff. He wants to go against something heavy. So getting the extra strength as well as that extra attack on the charge is going to help make sure you actually get through it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel any different, Steve, or is that one the clear winner? Because to me, it's the clear winner.
I mean, it just plays so nicely into what a World Eater is. The Butcher's Claws is kind of a great one to just be like, yep, that's the one.
Yeah. If anyone's doing the other ones and enjoying it, obviously you can post in the comments on YouTube and all. It's not the others are bad, but that one just feels like you get the biggest bang for your buck.
With no downside, really.
No. Honestly, I would have been fine seeing that one saying that you had to be charging. Honestly, it's World Eaters. I would have been fine if every single one of them said you had to charge constantly, because that's fitting. But yeah, there's no downside. All right. So, as we said, we skipped the Rites of War in this video. There will be a video put out. So this is the essentially for the Friday, one of the last Fridays in August, when this is coming out. A day or so later is the plan for that, for the Rites of War. So it should be out on that Saturday. Even though this is into the far future, it's already out there. That takes us to the Armory. Does anyone have... Well, the first page has 3 things. There's 3 of us. That's well done. Anyone want to talk about any of it in particular?
I'll just take Berserkers real quick, because it looks small. So, any model with both the independent character and the Legion of Astartes World Eater rule that does not also have the Psyker subtype, no shit, may be upgraded to a Berserker for 20 points and gain the Ravening Madman special rule, which increases their attack.
And increases.
So it increases their attack. Yeah. And it increases their attack characteristic by 1 for 20 points. And let's read Ravening Madman, since apparently it leads me into that. Any model making a 2-wound roll in the assault phase against a unit composed entirely of models with this special rule, so it has to be entirely, It reduces its strength by -1 when determining the score required to wound. This does not affect the attacking unit's strength for the purpose of inflicting instant death. So, okay, so still instant death. Additionally, any to hit rolls made in the assault phase targeting that unit that includes one or more models of the special rule always count as majority weapon skill of the target unit as 3. Oh, this is the same. Okay, I know what this rule is. Sorry. Count the majority weapon skill of the target unit as 3, regardless of the actual weapon skill of the models of the unit. So, essentially, this is how this works. I know the exact unit that has this. So, any unit that is attacking a unit, or any enemy unit that's attacking your unit that has Ravening Madmen, you reduce the strength by -1. All right, but it doesn't affect the instant death rule. But you attack a -1 strength on the chart. However, you always count as being weapon skill 3 when being hit at. So you're easier to hit, but you're harder to wound.
Yeah. And
defensive fighting's for cowards.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you read the very last line?
The reason I know this is because I know something.
That's the big thing. That's why it's an upgrade for characters.
Yes.
So
a unit that includes models with the special rule may only be joined. I assume. Okay. So yeah, you could a unit with this models with the special rule may only be joined with models with the special rule, or the Primarch. A model with the special rule may not join a unit that includes any models without the special rule.
Yeah.
So once you are a berserker, you must stick with the Ravening Madmen, or be alone, I guess. But why would you be alone?
Yeah. That's really what the Berserkers thing is. You get an extra attack. You gain this Ravening Madmen rule, so you can go run around with the Red Butchers.
Yep, pretty much.
There might be other units that have it, but I know they have it.
We'll see. I'll keep
I
an eye
think their
out
Special Assault Squad has it as well.
Okay.
Yes. No, they do not. They have different rules. So no.
Okay. +1 attack for 20 points, but also getting the ability to be hurt at -1 strength, but always hit on 3s.
And to be able,
well, not always hit on 3s.
No, and the other big thing is then you're able to join your elite Terminator squad, which is very useful because a lot of times that's where you want to put an independent character or some big beefy guy.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right.
I'm trying to picture the math real fast. Say you're fighting a regular Marine squad, right?
Yeah.
You go from, say it's like an equivalent unit, right? It would go from 4s and 4s to 3s and 5s.
Yes.
75 versus 25% versus.
I never have to do math for this podcast.
I can't do that math. Math is hard.
Sorry, we got us to professor.
25% versus 22%. This is technically a better defense against an equivalent strength unit, or if it's hitting itself.
Yeah. When you go off of just the pure, so if you're trying to calculate something like this, you have to consider whether or not you technically are requiring an order or not requiring an order, because that can change the way you calculate a bit of the numbers. This does help you overall. It's not a huge difference. It becomes all the bigger when you start looking at things that aren't sitting straight at Marine stat lines like the 4/4. If anything starts branching off of that, say if something is weapon skill 5, this is huge because they were already hitting you on 3s. This will make no difference. So they're counting as -1 strength. They are wounding you much less. Obviously, 6 or higher, then it starts becoming a little bit more of a detriment. So it helps you in a lot of sort of cases. Also, if they happen to be weapon skill 3, then it's an even bigger. It can be a somewhat bigger boon, of course. But overall, it's useful. It is good. It's not a detriment unless someone has like a weapon skill. Potentially could be a detriment if they have a really good weapon skill, because then they might be hitting you on 2s.
And it's useless if their strength is 7 or higher.
Yes. Yeah, if they have a high strength. So if we're talking about like Marine stat line, this helps. As you start branching away from that, there's spots where it's a little bit better, and then there's spots where it suddenly becomes useless or even potentially detrimental to you. I don't feel like going through and doing charts worth of math right now. It's summer.
Pick your fights.
Yes.
Basically. Just pick your fights.
Yeah.
Next up we have Savage Fervor. Any model with chainsword can swap it out for a chain axe for free. What's the difference? You get +1 strength.
Yep.
So, yeah, you're going to take that option.
Yeah.
Is that the only? Yeah, that's the only
That's
difference.
literally
All
the
right,
entire
easy.
difference.
Literally their special thing. Yep. You buy a bunch of chain axes, or beg friends with 3D printers to print a bunch of axes for you, because axes are just free. They're free and they're better than every chain sword you will ever equip.
Yeah. All right. When we look at the weapons, how do we pronounce that first word? Kader?
Hold on.
Kadrid?
It's Kader. Yeah, it's Kader. It has to be
Okay.
Kader because that's the closest to fake
All right,
Latin.
I'm gonna go with Kader. Put in the comments below on the YouTube if you think Dan informed me wrong. So, a model with Kader weapons may select one of the following weapons when it is selected as part of the army. Additionally, any model with either independent character special rule or character subtype and the World Eater special rule may exchange a chain sword for one of these Kader weapons for 15 points. So if you have Kader weapons, you can pick anything here you like. And if you're an independent character or a character, for 15 points, you can turn a chain sword into one of these. For units that have... who actually has Kader? Oh, so like the Rampagers have it. Okay. I figured there had to be a unit that had it. Wasn't sure which one it was. So, a few things. They have a Meteor Hammer, +2 strength, AP4. It's melee 2-handed, reach 1, and breaching 5 up. So, good strength. Changing it for 15 points. Not too sure that. Maybe.
It's straight up better than a power sword.
Then a power sword, you said?
Because reach puts you at you at initiative 5, and you're breaking through 2-up saves on a 5-up.
True. But if you're not getting
All you're doing is
5s,
losing an
everyone's
attack.
getting their armor. Unless it's something out of
At
Dan's
strength
strength.
6,
That'll
carry you until you're fighting Leviathan. You're going to be wounding on 5s.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
Or better.
Side point. Because it's +2 strength, if you take this, oh no, plus the Warlord trait will only make you strength 7.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Which is 5s against Leviathan.
Yes.
There's a better weapon down the chain that I like a lot more.
It's not bad. I'm just not huge on it.
Yeah.
The Chain X Escortiator, Chain X, sure. +2 strength, AP3, so now you are getting through at least Marine armor base. It's 2-handed, shred, murder strike 5 up, and unwieldy. So you are going at initiative 1, shred, so you can reroll to get those successes, and murder strike on a 5 up. So you're essentially instant death on a 5 up. The only problem with shred is you get to reroll fails. You don't get the pick. So if I wound you on, let's say, your +2 strength, if I'm wounding you on 2s, I'm not getting to choose to reroll the others.
Are you sure shred is only on
It's only fails.
Shred is fails only.
Okay.
I would like this weapon more, because unwieldy also is the other part that hurts a little bit. I would like this weapon more if shred meant I could reroll whatever I want, because now I could just try to murder strike things down. But
yeah, I agree.
It would work against a Dreadnought.
Oh,
great.
yes.
Because it's wounding on 5s,
Yep.
which is murderous strike, and all the failures you try again on. So
So
great for Dreadnought hunting.
That's what this
I'm
thing
glad
is.
you mentioned I'm glad you mentioned Dreadnoughts, because in my opinion, because again, the World Eaters play that I play against runs 2 of the next weapon, and I think that's more dangerous. So I'll wait for Dave to take it away.
So Phalanx Blade, and there is a little asterisk here. It says a model that upgrades a chain sword to a Phalanx Blade replaces the chain sword with 2 of them. So you actually have 2 of these. It's +1 strength, AP5.
And you get +1.
It's melee. It's a specialist weapon, although you have 2 of them. Rending 4 up, and it has duelist edge of 1.
Yep.
And
Rending 4 up.
+1 attack, rending 4 is really nice.
Yeah.
Because Ren's auto wound.
So to give you an idea, the guy I play against, his Praetor has this, right? And so the Praetor, of course, starts with 3 attacks, right? He charges.
He only starts with 3?
4. I think Praetor starts with 3.
Oh, 4?
Oh, okay, so 4.
I was about to say, they don't start at 3.
Oh, okay, so it's 4. It's 4. Starts with 4. Charges 5. World Eater Legion trait 6. Double specialist weapon 7. And he strength 6 because he takes the Warlord trait when he charges, and he just rends on 4 up no matter what.
At that point, I wouldn't bother with the Warlord trait because your AP 5 base just take the 4-up Ren. You don't need the strength.
He took the +1 strength because he knows he plays against me, so that's why he gets up to strength. Yeah, but
it's not going to help.
Not on this guy. It would help on. Remember, it's for the rest of the unit. The rest of the unit will gain a bonus with the +1.
True.
It's not for this guy. Yeah, the rending 4, rending auto damage.
Put him in a squad of guys that all have these weapons, and you don't need it.
That's very true.
True, but yeah, no. This way, I fear this weapon to a heavy degree.
As you should.
Yeah, because like listen, if you have a Praetor with 4 attacks, who gives a shit? Rending 4. But when your Praetors are hitting 6 normal attacks and 7 on the charge, 5 normal attacks and 7 on the charge, that's a spicy boy.
4 rending attacks is still very good. You play a skew army, so most stuff has only a few wounds that you might be going against.
And I apologize. It's 6 attacks, 8 attacks, because he also gives him Berserker as well. Okay. So he has 6 attacks normally, 8 attacks on the charge.
All right, one more weapon they got here. They got a Barb Hook Lash. Strength as your user. It's AP 5. It's melee. It's 2-handed. Fleshbane, so wound on 2s, which is nice. Reach 1, rending 5 up. I don't know. Maybe it looks cool. I'm not thrilled with
rending,
that one.
Not breach. Huh? It's
rending 5 up.
Funny enough, I think it's better than the Meteor Hammer. I think it's better than the Meteor Hammer. Sure, you lose.
I like the reach rending combo.
Yeah, instead of the reach breaching and the extra strength.
But it's rough to hit that rend.
Yeah.
I think it's better than a power sword if you're fighting Terminator. It's worse if you're fighting power armor.
Yeah. But it's still pretty good if you're like facing a contemptor or even a tank. You can rend a tank.
Yeah, that is at least one thing. Since it's rending instead of breaching, you at least are guaranteed that you're getting the wound through if you're fighting something that's tough enough. But
and initiative 5 might be the bailout you need against something big.
Yes. Yeah, it's not unwieldy like the chain axe that we read about was, which has the murder strike, which is better, but you are swinging last, so you may not be alive at that point. The Phalanx Blade and probably the chain axe are the two that are the best looking to me. Barb Hook does have its uses though, and I don't really like the hammer.
I agree with that.
All right, now these guys have very few units. Again, we're skipping Angron because we'll do those all at some other point when we have a lot of time, which is not today. But does anyone have a particular unit or anything that they want to talk about? So they essentially have 3 units. They have 2 in the book, and they have a Legends unit.
I will take the Red Butchers because I adore these.
Talk about
them. So Red Butchers 250 points. So that's the middle, right? It's what 220, 250, 275.
Those are about
right?
the normal numbers. Yeah, some are a little bit under, but that's about the average. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the average. So 250, which is nice middle ground. Comes with 5 models. They have weapon skill 5, but beautiful. Ballistic skill 3. I don't know. Oh, they could get guns. They can get guns. I was like, they don't come with guns. Strength and toughness 4, 2 wounds, initiative 4, 2-3 attacks normally, leadership 6, which it matters and it doesn't matter, and then a 2-up save because they're in cataphracti. Their normal war gear is just straight up 2 power axes. That's it. They are relentless. They are the Ravening Madmen rule. So to recap, for those who kind of just in a little tiny recap, Ravening Madmen basically means they're always hit on a 3. But they're -1 strength.
It doesn't mean they're always hit on a 3. They count as weapon skill 3.
Weapon skill 3. No, it's a big.
It makes a very big difference.
Big difference because Mechanicum exists now.
You're no longer.
Yes, that is true. We're all weapon skill 3. Yes, I know. They are
at least in the UK you aren't. In the US you might be.
They are fearless, which is why the leadership does count and doesn't count. The reason I kind of say that is because sometimes against psychic powers, or
concussive weapons,
you need a leadership check. So leadership 6 does hurt. Like if you're hit with a concussive weapon, leadership 6 that's not great. But they are fearless, which is good, and they hate everything, which is I love that rule. They can take a Legion Proteus carrier or a Spartan as a dedicated transport. And each 5 additional red butchers is 45 points each. They are hefty. You can exchange 1 power axe for a combi bolter for free. I don't know why you would ever do that. Don't do that, guys. We very rarely tell people how to build their armies, but like,
it doesn't fit the theme, because if you do that, they, for all intents and purposes, I don't even care about that.
The reason you might do it is just so you could use your plastic models.
That's what I was going to say.
That's the extent of the reason.
If you're doing that, they are looking like the guys out of the box. So if your goal is you want to use the guys in the box, sure. If you want to play the unit, sort of the way they might be intended, no, give them some axes, or swap them out for the other weapons they're allowed to.
Does the box Terminators come with? I know they come with some lightning claws.
Yeah, they do.
Do they come with axes at all?
Nope.
Or no?
There's like 2 swords.
Okay.
But there are lightning claw options for the unit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And if you were crafty, you could probably take some Kharn bloodbound arms and make them fit.
Oh yeah, probably.
Because they're beefy.
The Devoured, which is the captain, can take a Power Fist, Chain Fist, or Thunderhammer. I should point out, by the way, it's each, so you can actually run the champion with double Chain Fist. I don't know why you would I always forget this. Is it Power Fist or Chain Fist that's Specialist?
Power Fist. So you could do 1 Chain Fist, 1 Power Axe, and get a bonus attack.
Exactly. Okay, good. That's what I was thinking.
It's one of like the 3 things in the game that could do that.
Yeah. You could give a Minor Magna. Who cares? And please take a Grenade Harness. Please take.
Not if they have
their axes.
Power Axes. Remember, they're initiative 1.
Why do they care?
Well, no,
only lightning claws.
You replace with lightning claws. That's what I was saying.
Only if you have
take
lightning
the pair of
claws.
lightning claws, then yes.
Which I would recommend, by the way, for this unit.
I don't know. It's kind of pricey because it puts you up to a 55-point Terminator.
Oh, yeah, but it's already 10 points. It's not 10 points each. It's 10 points in total.
It's 10
lightning
points per
claws.
model.
The lightning claws is 10 per model.
No. I know, but what I'm saying is but it's 10 points for the combo. Like it's not 10 points each power axe you replace.
No, of course not.
So
a pair of lightning claws is always 10 points on a Terminator body. On all the cataphracti, that's the cost.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, but no, remember you get 2+ attacks too, so now there are 4 attacks. At AP3, and I believe lightning claws are rending as well.
Yeah, they rend on 6.
Shred rending 6.
Yeah, so listen. I'm not going to say replace all of them with lightning claws, but I wouldn't hesitate to maybe do 1 or 2 in a squad. And if worse comes to worse, he's the first one to die.
Knowing how many attacks they get, because if you do that, your base 2 attacks, let's say, you can then, get 2 more for rending. Double lightning claws. You get +1 because let's say you charged, and then +1 because you're a World Eater, so you're on 6 attacks. I think it's worth taking 1 because if there's people in 3-up armor that I'm worried about what's going to happen because I have to wait until initiative step 1, I have a chance to cut to work on cutting them down. Or if maybe what I'm worried about is, they have some big weapons that also go at initiative 1, at least I have an option of maybe putting some wounds through early.
Remember, they become strength 5 if you add the Warlord in there too.
I would put it on not the Sergeant so that it's hitting the squad.
Yeah. Don't put it on the Sergeant.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, if he's going to get beat up by someone, then hopefully you're going at the same time as them so you can beat them down as well. Yeah, put it on someone else. But I would absolutely change 1 out.
But
if you wanted to take the Thunderhammer, send the extra 5 points on a Power Fist as the offhand weapon and get the bonus attack. Right? Because they're both specialist?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, Thunderhammers are specialist.
Oh, wait. Is Thunderhammer specialist? Okay, yeah. I like it. It's a really good unit. I mean, it's straightforward. You put them in a Spartan or you put them in a Land Raider, you drive forward, and you poop them out.
Yeah. No, they're good. I mean, that's going to be sort of a theme to some extent when we look at a lot of their stuff.
Yes.
Is that it's reasonably straightforward. They excel a lot at what they do. Maybe at the end we'll talk about fighting against these guys, just the army in general. But all right, Steve, do you want to take the other book unit or do you want to take the Legends unit?
I'm I'll take the exemplary
Okay,
battles
exemplary
unit.
battles. That's the name. I said the wrong name. That's fine. All right, so I'll take the Rampagers then.
All good, because they also have legends with characters.
Got it. Okay. So this is the Rampager Squadron. It's 135 points for 5 guys. Move 7, so normal there. Weapon skill 5, so they got the 1 extra. Political strength, toughness, all 4s, but they are 2 wounds each. Initiative 4, they're 2 or 3 attacks. The champion obviously gets the extra. He's on the 3. 8 leadership for both, so a little bit better leadership than some normal Marines on 3-up saves. They get 1 Kadir weapon, or they get 2 Phalanx blades. They have a bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades, and their normal power armor. They have Furious Charge 1. They have Chosen Warriors, so that means any of them can issue. Chosen Warriors, anyone can issue, right? I know they can accept challenges. Yeah, I know the accepting part. I wasn't sure about the issue.
Yep,
okay.
They get both.
And they're stubborn, so they're essentially going to sit on 8s. If they're 10 models or fewer, and does not include any models with the Legion Warhawk jump packs, because they have ways to take jump packs. They can take a Proteus. They're 22 points each. You can go up to 10 more, so Dan's beloved 15. They may...
I hate that. I hate that. Just make it 10 or 20.
What they want to do is,
I hate 15.
In general, the additional amount you can usually take on like a power armor style squad is 10 extra. So if your squad started at 10 more, you get to 20. But if your squad only starts at 5, 10 more, you only get to 15. They want it to be very...
You know why it annoys me?
By the book with that. Not everything fits it, obviously. But that's what I notice a lot.
To be fair, Forge World does sell them in packs of 5, so I can forgive them. But like for shit that like it's sold in 10s, I would lose my damn mind.
You got a lot of things to convert with or do more than 1 unit. None says you have to take 1 unit. Take 2 units of 10. The champion can replace his bolt pistol for a plasma pistol, 10 points. The champion can change his Kadir weapons for either 2 lightning claws or for a power fist. I don't think I would. You could make an argument for the power fist maybe, but I don't really know. He can put artificer armor on.
Just use the chain axe at that point.
I was gonna say
take the power fist. Just take the chain axe option. It's almost as good.
Take 2 Phalanx blades. You still rend on a 4-up, and you gain an attack.
Yeah, I don't know if I would swap out the other
one. Take 2 Phalanx.
They probably have an option, because if you look at the unit on Forge World, I guarantee like one of them has that on him.
Look it up.
Usually that's what it is when you see the Special Squad. They can take jump packs if they want for 10 points a guy.
Pricey.
Yeah,
that is pricey.
It's less pricey than taking your only dedicated option as a Land Raider Proteus, because these guys can't.
Real quick,
you want them in an assault vehicle, like you wouldn't want to put them in a Rhino. But I like the idea of a cheap transport for a unit that wants to get close, like a worst case scenario. So all they can take is the Proteus for that.
Dave, real quick.
What are you saying, Dan?
Dave, real quick. And you probably heard my rant on the Myrmidons that I bought.
Yeah, they're all on rocks.
Forge World does the same
about it. You told everyone about it.
No. You forgot the other way. What
the
do
weapon
you think
pairings.
5 Rampagers are armed with?
Whatever they want to.
1 of each weapon.
Okay. Well, they're just trying to show off their weapons. Rampagers, here they are. Let me take a look at these guys. No, one guy's got 2 swords. Yeah, that one dude's got 2 swords. They have all the weapons, essentially.
They have 1 of each.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you want a squad of 5 guys all the same, you get 5 packs.
Yeah.
That's what Dan's like mad about.
Yep.
Their blade,
because the Myrmidons have the same thing happening.
Their Phalanx blades, they're essentially use a power sword. There you go. Put a power sword in each hand.
Yeah, just a power sword. No one's gonna shoot on you.
Yeah, just
they're knuckle dusters, though, which are really cool.
Don't make them glow. And then to me, it's a Phalanx blade. There you go. Yeah, and running for a duelist edge, so they want to be in a challenge, and any of them can take the challenge. Fierce charge is +1 strength on the charge. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
So that puts these guys at a strength 5. If they actually have those blades, the blades were +1. Yeah. So be strength 6, rending on a 4-up. So against a lot of things, wounding on 2s, rending on 4s. Yeah, that's I think the way I take them.
+1 attack.
Yeah, and not even counting the attacks. Obviously, they get tons and tons of attacks. Might be worth having one guy have their Exorciator chain axe, just because it has Murder Strike, and there's some reasons why you might want that. Otherwise, I'd probably take them all with the blades. But there's no bad option other
10
than,
models.
I don't know, the Lash I'm not a big fan of. But the other ones, all of them are good for various reasons. But since you get a choice, I would probably take most of them with the blades. Maybe a giant chain axe.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Fun fact, I think 10 of them run you as much as 5 ramp. Hold on, 135, and then 22 times 5 is what? Is that 110?
Yeah.
Yeah, 110, so that's 240, 245. Yeah, so 10 of them run you the same as the 5 Terminators.
Here's the thing. So now they're 245. If they don't have jump packs, I kind of feel you got to put them in a transport. Now, dedicated is the Proteus. Obviously, you can put them in something else as long as you're willing to take the slot for it. But I think if you don't want these guys walking the way at the field, because I don't think they make it. Because I see what they can
I would
do.
say Red Butchers, I don't even think make it. I don't even think Red Butchers make it under concentrated fire. But
I, for one, if you're taking Terminators, I mean, if you're playing a low points game and you got to keep it cheap, you got to keep it cheap. But if you're playing something bigger and kind of have like your one Terminator unit kind of thing, then yeah, I put them in a transport. You need them in something. Get them there. But I feel like these guys need something as well. Maybe not the Proteus. Maybe you got a spare Spartan hanging around, or I don't know, Dreadclaw or something. I'd want them in something.
The Dreadclaw would not be bad either.
That would be. I thought of it because someone else was talking about it, and when I was looking at comments before mentioning for one of the Rites of War, we talked about they're like, oh, I think the Charybdis or one of the other ones could work for something we were talking about. It's like, oh yeah, it would work because it has some of those rules. It's like that could work as well.
Yeah.
I would want to put them in something. So they're somewhat cheap. They're not as fragile because they're at least 2 wounds each. They can do a lot of damage. I would want these guys in something to guarantee they get there, so they can earn me both their points back as well as then just start killing whatever they get in contact with. And I think they'll kill a lot of things.
Probably the biggest downside of this unit, its strength is capping at 6, so it's not instant deathing Marines unless you get Murder Strike off with that chain axe. If only there was a way to make Marines toughness 3. Oh wait, we got a unit that does that. So imagine these guys, but they were destroyers. That's what the next unit's going to be. Go for it. All right, so if we go to our exemplary Battles of the Age of Darkness PDF on page 5, we have the World Eater's Red Hand Destroyer Assault Squad. For 115 points, you get a standard Marine stat line with a bonus attack. You get 2 bolt pistols, a chainsword, frag grenades, crack grenades, and rad grenades, all packaged in power armor. The squad's infantry, their unit leader, the Blood Bonded, is a character. They're obviously be world eaters. They are stubborn, with counterattack 1, bearers of the Blood Hand, and ravaging assault, which are both new rules specifically for the unit. So, bearers of the Blood Hand. Essentially, this rule just says, if you can charge, you must charge. Simple as that. And then ravaging assault. On a turn that you charge, you get a +1 to the number of wounds you inflict when determining who won the combat. Additionally, you get a +1 to any sweeping advance rolls you make. It does not stack with other rules that do similar things, such as Vexillas and I guess anything else that would affect the sweeping advance roll. For weapons, we can take up to 10 extra guys, so we get Dan's favorite number of 15 models. I know he's very, very excited about that. They can take Warhawk jump packs, only 5 points a model, but I feel like the points discount is very much okay, just because it's a 1 wound unit, 1 wound per model unit, so paying half the price for half the durability, that's okay in my book. Any Ravager may replace a chainsword with one of those weapons: Meteor Hammer, Excoriator, Chain Axe.
Yeah, Khadir weapons.
Yeah, Khadir weapons. I forgot how we agreed to pronounce it for a second. At 15 points per model. Ooh, that's kind of pricey, but you don't have to do it on all of them. So you could do like half the squad has these awesome weapons, half the squad's just chilling. And then for every 5 models, One can replace a bolt pistol with a missile launcher with dispenser weapon, rad missiles, or a thunder hammer, which means you could actually have a thunder hammer and twin phalanx blades and get a bonus attack on the thunder hammer. But that's 35 points. I don't know if I really
don't
like
do
that
that.
idea. That's a lot of points.
No, stop it. Bad.
The unit leader can take a power weapon, power fist, lightning claw, or thunder hammer. The unit leader can take artificer armor, as well as up to 3 phosphex bombs and melta bombs.
So they're...
Oh my god, they take 3 phosphex bombs?
I mean, that's just what destroyers do.
Yeah. So they're a more expensive Mortalis. And then if you put jump packs on them, they're a more expensive destroyer assault squad. But for that extra bit, they all have one, you don't have bitter duty, so that can be useful. You have your special rules, like your ravaging assaults. Bears will blend in, so you have to be charging. Makes sense. You probably want to. You have less options overall for what kind of things you can do with them, but you can take more phosphex because both the other units can only take 1 phosphex bomb.
And you can have a thunder hammer to 1 in 5. That's really
and your special
nice.
Weapons, which is a very worthwhile thing to look at as well, and also melta bombs because I don't think either squad naturally can take a melta bomb. I have it open. I don't see it.
Mortalis, the full unit could take melta bombs.
Oh yeah, there it is for 25 points. Yes.
It's
for both of them. My apologies. Yeah, it's 25 points for the full unit.
Yeah,
on both of them.
I like this unit. I think that the counterattack works well with World Eaters because just in case you somehow don't make a charge, you're still getting extra attack, which is just nice to have.
You're not going to be able to charge everything.
Rad grenades are fun.
Your opponent's going to get charges on you.
With this unit, I kind of like the Meteor Hammer again, just because now it's causing instant death. And it has reach for the bonus initiative. So that's kind of interesting.
And it's not... Yeah, okay.
I would do like 1 in there for fun. And then, of course, you're going to have Phalanx Blades because you're going to have Phalanx Blades.
Probably you put 2 or 3 Meteor Hammers because of the instant death.
Yeah, but the problem is you're not hitting the APs you want to hit.
Remember,
true. But let's see. So they get
the Meteor Hammers only plus 2 strength.
Yeah, so now you're strength 6.
Oh, because you have the rad grenades.
Yeah,
you're right. My apologies. I was thinking about that.
Which works on either end of an assault, either being assaulted or assaulting. So.
Yeah, but they get 4 attacks on the charge. Wait, did they get 5 because they have 2 bolt pistols?
Yes. Well, no, because these are all specialist two-handed weapons.
Oh,
unless you're using their chain swords, which are really just chain axes in disguise. But they also get counterattack. Don't forget, Dan. So when they get charged, get a bonus attack too. So they'll still have 4 attacks when they get charged, and 5 when they do the charging.
And that's with a Meteor Hammer?
That's with the chainsaw,
not the Meteor Hammer.
Well, what I'm saying with a Meteor Hammer, Hammer 4 attacks each. I think you'd go to 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, 4 attacks with the Meteor Hammer each.
On the charge.
On the charge.
Only on the charge.
Yes.
And breaching 5 up. So if you roll that 5, you're just crushing enemy vets.
Or even Terminators?
Yeah, I have the same category in my head.
Yeah. I like it. I'd probably... This is the only time where I'd say the Meteor Hammer might be better than the Phalanx Blades.
I don't know if I go that far. But I definitely think it's a lot more viable in this unit.
Or hell, here we are. Screw the Meteor Hammer. Oh no, that's AP3. Never mind. I was gonna say give them the axe, but the axe is AP3.
The Meteor Hammer's AP4.
The axe is still interesting.
No, but I thought the axe was AP2. That's why.
Okay, you don't want to give up the timing with your unwieldy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I would just be careful because these guys are gonna get real expensive real fast, and
that's why you do 1 or 2 models with it, and then have a bunch of just bodies filling space.
And they're gonna.
And it's funny because I want to point out we say bodies filling space. We just realized these fucking bodies have chain axes, 5 attacks on the charge with chain axes. So they're already hitting strength 5 attacks each, shred.
True. Keep in mind they have to get there.
True, I know, but it's funny. We're like, we just casually throw in bodies, and I'm like, yeah, but this body on the charge gets 5 attacks at strength 5 or shred. That's
I mean, that's going to be one of the
so
things
just
we're going to talk about that
for
your
people who are
opponent wants to
listening.
do. If you have to deal with these guys, the way you deal with them is you need to be able to shoot people down. If they're not in a transport,
Yep,
unless you're taking a bigger squad, there's a very good
you
chance they're
blow
just not
them
going
up.
to make it. Unless the opponent you're going against is
Yep.
pushing guys forward.
Another way to look at this is for 3 points more than a base. No, 8 points more than Assault Marine.
Yeah.
That's kind of pricey.
Yeah, I mean,
8 points for a bonus attack and
Rad grenades.
I mean,
rad
that
grenades.
feels worth it to me.
That's
Like I
worth,
said, because
in
they
my
don't
opinion.
get bitter duty like the
Yeah.
other
Okay.
destroyers do.
But you're losing scoring. That's the downside. You're losing.
It matters in like 2 missions.
They
I'm not
can't
as worried
score
about
if they're
scoring. It doesn't
dead.
really matter to me.
It matters in one mission of progressive scoring, and in the other mission you have to
So it
survive
still
to the end of the
matters
game.
there, yeah.
So they don't score if
But
they're
for the
dead.
other ones, I'm not too concerned with the scoring part. I'm just worried these guys, if they don't have either the jump packs or something else, they're just not going to make it. And you're going to vest up on.
I have yet to have a scoring. Yep.
You have yet to do what now?
I said I have yet to add I have yet to add a line unit to my army because remember I have Cybernetica, so I can make all the cybernetic robots line. But I want to play with my new shit. Still have yet to add line. It hasn't hampered me yet.
Although
And to be fair, well, I was gonna say to be fair, back in the last edition, Cybernetica was never line, and it still didn't hamper me.
if you're dead, I don't have to worry about having line.
Just keep.
Yeah, that
Exactly.
honestly, this game needs. We need to do progressive scoring missions. That's what will make the game really shine.
I agree.
But we can talk about mission structures another time.
You say that, but you haven't fought Fury of the Legion in a progressive
Okay,
scoring mission.
so here's the thing, though. Okay, there's one thing that I don't want to fight against it. I'll play it once. If someone wants to do that again, bringing a really messed up list, I'm not gonna play. There you go.
You call me over and I take over.
No, just tell them, no, just not gonna play. That's simple. All right, so let's get back to the book for their one character there, and then we'll leave the book for the very last 2 characters.
I'm taking him. I love this dude. And I'm going to apologize to the listeners only because I do have to dip into the Primarch with him. Only for a weapon, though.
You could just talk about the weapon. You don't have to actually.
We're not talking about the Primarch.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see why in a second. So, Kharn the Bloody. 175 points, bunch of titles for very good reasons. He is move 7, weapon skill 7. He's a very good weapon skill. Ballistic skill 5, strength and toughness 4, 3 wounds. Initiative 5 at 4 attacks, leadership 10, and 2 up save. He's got the Cutter, a plasma pistol, frag and crackenades, artificier armor, and iron halo. He is relentless, independent character, master of the Legion. He has Rampage 3. So to our listeners, a reminder, Rampage 3 means that if you are outnumbered in combat, you get the bonus attacks listed on your in the brackets. So if he's outnumbered, he becomes 7 attack. Jesus. Precision strikes 4 up, traitor, and warlord trait savage assault. He has an option to replace the Cutter for Gore Child for 35 points. And I'm good. The reason I will not talk about that yet, but you pay the 35 points and you give him Gore Child 1,000%, 100,000. We'll get to it in this. Warlord trait, savage assault. Probably, I dare say, probably one of the strongest warlord traits in the game. No enemy unit may declare a reaction against a charge made by a unit that includes Kharn the Bloody, unless the unit targeted by the charge includes a model with the Primarch unit type. In addition, you get an additional advanced reaction during the movement phase. And that was not me misreading it. If Kharn is in the unit, you do not get a reaction to his charge. You cannot overwatch. You cannot set to defend, which is disgusting.
You also can't do your Legion specifics. You just take it.
You just take it. No reactions. Definitely high up there on probably one of the most powerful warlord traits. Now, his weapon, which I don't give a shit about because I'm going to talk about Gore Child in a second, but his weapon is the Cutter at strength +1, AP 3, melee, shred, rending 4 up, murderous strike 6 up. Okay, that's neat. Who cares? You pay 35 points and you give this guy Gore Child. Gore Child is +1 strength, same thing, AP 2, specialist weapon, armor bane, murderous strike 3 up, shred.
I mean, I know when it's worse.
when Angron's on the field, so you don't have a choice.
No, when you're fighting a dreadnought.
No,
Murder Strike does not
Murder
auto
Strike does not auto wound.
No. But it. So his.
If you're fighting a dreadnought, it's worse.
Very true.
That,
But,
I mean, that's like the only situation.
Yeah.
But
yeah, pretty much.
I found the one time you don't want to do it.
But yeah, no, it's absolute insanity. You pay 35 points, get him Gorechild. You run him into a squad. Now, I'm going to warn you ahead of time because this happened to my friend who plays the World Leaders. He does not have Eternal Warrior. So if you're going to run him in a squad and you're going to charge Terminators, you better make absolutely 1000% certain that you murder every single Terminator. Because if Power Fists come in, Kharn only has a 4-up save.
He's
Yeah,
actually
he doesn't
best
want a
outside
challenge.
of a challenge because he gets those
Yes.
precision strikes for.
Oh no! He was outside. He charged 10 Emperor's charge, not got charged. He charged 10 Emperor Children Terminators in Indomitus, and him and like I think it was a couple of other dudes, and they just got. He killed like 7 Terminators, but yeah, it was quite funny to see. But you know, he's exactly what he sounds like.
Yes.
He's a blunder.
He does the damage. Either weapon you give him is great. The cutter is great against dreadnoughts because rending 4-up, and if you get the 6-up, it's also murder strike and rending, so that's really nice. But honestly, I would just run him with Gorechild. Strength plus it's a +1 strength AP2 at initiative. Shred murder strike 3-up. Wait, Armor Bane. Armor Bane lets you what?
Reroll wounds, same as
dreadnoughts.
Shred.
If you're going against the vehicle,
okay.
is where that would maybe do you something. But your goal there is not to is not going against vehicles. That's not his goal.
Yeah.
But he'll kill that Rhino real good.
Actually, and with that,
I still think you give him Gorechild. I think he's modeled with Gorechild. Hold on, now I gotta look at Kharn.
Question is, do you know what the other weapon looks
Forge
like?
World stopped working. Yeah, because I have Angron up. I was going to talk about how cool Angron looks, but there's Kharn. He might come with 2 weapons though. Let me see here.
I mean, it's going to be a chain axe or it's going to be
that's the thing.
a chain.
They're both they're chain axes. They're both chain weapons. So it's like.
Okay, so it's
I mean, have you seen Fulgrim's sword move around between himself and Lucius?
Oh no! So it does say
tell me those two are the same sword.
It comes with the cutter or it comes with Gorechild. It actually does come. It says in the description, but it looks in the picture that's the cutter, like the cutter. This is going to shock you guys. The cutter is a chain axe.
It said it. You just didn't read that part in the rules. Yeah, it says it counts as a chain weapon. Oh, you missed that part.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah, so it is a chain axe. Funny enough, but point him to enemy and charge. Man, the no reaction to his charge though is nuts.
I mean, Gorechild having Armor Bane does mean. I mean, you're at +1 strength. He's at strength 5. You could actually hurt some bigger vehicles. You know, you get an extra D6. So like he could hurt a vehicle. Not his goal, but he could. But no, if you haven't brought Angron, I would take Gorechild.
He could saw Legion Typhon in half.
Is it Armor Bane 2d6?
Take an extra.
Yeah, you get an extra D6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I was thinking that,
exactly,
you roll.
Yeah, everyone gets 1, so you get the extra. So you actually could hurt some bigger vehicles.
Everyone gets, that's really nice.
And he's cheap.
Cool. Definitely scary.
And then Gorechild's only 35, so because he's what, 175? So yeah, so you're looking at 210.
So Gorechild is 210.
210 for all that's good.
It's not bad.
I'll go better than Dan rather than saying not bad. I will say it is good.
1 Kharn or 1 Land Raider?
All right, are we good with Kharn? All right. I do wish.
Yeah.
The only thing that I wish is that they had given him very similar rules to what he used to have in 40K. For Kharn, for anyone who didn't play 40K, Kharn's rule at one point, I don't know what it is now. It's probably something else now. His rule before was he didn't miss because he he would be able to hit on 2s, but once he rolls, he would hit his own unit because Khorne doesn't care from where the blood flows. So if he doesn't hit the enemy, he hits his own unit, so he would never miss. That would have been cool, but
Well, here's the reason why they didn't do that. This is
I
before he's
agree.
Kharn's
He hasn't gone
betrayer.
full nuts yet.
This is well beyond he burns
Yes.
down the entire camp.
To be fair, he's also the twice unslain. So there's been been attempts.
He's a full-on nut still. All right. Good.
Actually, so, little on side note, Horus Heresy, he's not actually as crazy. He's actually one of the more calmer world eaters.
That's not
in the
saying
book.
much, though.
Ironically,
He's a little bit.
no, I
less
know, true, but he's one of the more
bloodthirsty than
thinking
rest of
men. He's one of the more thinking man ones,
He's a thinking
which is
man's
kind of
murderer.
cool.
Okay.
Yes,
All
exactly.
right. I guess maybe I'll take the. Do you care which one you do, Steve, for the other two? If not, I'll just take the next guy. All right. I'll take
Not
Shabran
really.
Darr. Some of these names, I don't like some of these names. That name's kind of dumb. That's okay. So 140 points for this guy. So this is out of the Legacies PDF that Games Workshop put out. So move 7, weapon skill 6, plus skill 5, so good stats there. Strength toughness 4, he's got 3 wounds, of course. For his points, that's what you expect. He's initiative 4, he's got 3 attacks, 9 leadership, and 2 up save because he's in artificer armor. He's got a bolt pistol, the Liberator, which we'll go into what that weapon is in a moment. He's got a refractor field and frag and crack grenades. He's, of course, an independent character. He has a 6-up feel no pain, which is something. He's actually the first one we've seen who has base feel no pain. For people going as crazy and so non-concerned with themselves, I'm kind of surprised that wasn't something they got a little bit more of. Rage 2. He is actually a loyalist. Headhunter, and his warlord trait is bloody-handed, which was one of the ones we talked about before. So he is with that one, bloody-handed. Is that the one we really liked? I always forget the names of which ones. Nope. Oh no, it's not listed here. That must be further down. Did I just not go to this page? Oh no, that's one of the base warlord traits, isn't it?
Yes, bloody handed is a base. I'll pull it up on my book.
And he can take a Warhawk jump pack for 20 points if he wants. So we'll go through what he has. He has Headhunter. Oh, if you have it, go for it. Yeah.
You want me to read bloody handed? Yeah, no, I have it in the it's in the mechanical book. It's funny. So basically, in combat, or at least one friendly model within 12 inches of a unit, or combat which includes this warlord, gains a bonus of +1 to the number of wounds caused for the purposes of combat resolution, and you get an additional assault.
So it's the extra combat res. All right, so he's got Headhunter. While fighting in a challenge, his attacks gain breaching 4-up special rule. So it's not auto wound, but if he is wounding there, at least he's doing it at AP2, which is useful. His weapon, though, so the Liberator, is a chain weapon for all rules there that matter. It's +1 strength, so he's swinging base strength 5. He's melee shred, it's breaching on a 6, and brutal 2. So if you're in a challenge, essentially you have a +1 strength weapon that's going to be breaching on a 4. For most things you're going against, because you're probably facing a Space Marine, you're looking at toughness 4, you're now breaching on a 4, you're wounding on 3s, but getting AP2 on 4-ups and is a brutal 2, which is actually really, really good. This guy's 5-up 5-up invul, 6-up feel no pain, which is pretty good. Only concern is you'd have to see when he's in the challenge, he gets a really nice benefit, and his weapon isn't unwieldy. The big thing you'd have to watch there is what are you fighting against?
So you just have to roll. Yeah, you have to hope to roll 4-ups. Like most sergeants are pretty much equipped with power fists at this point. Like that's the most common thread. So hopefully you roll your 4-up. But if you do roll your 4-up,
Refractor's a 5-up.
No,
Refractor's a 5.
No, what I'm saying is most sergeants he'll go against in a challenge have a power fist, so he's going to go before them. Just hope you roll the breaching 4-up, because then if you do, it's brutal 2.
Yeah. Well, even then, I don't even necessarily care about the brutal 2 so much for that moment if I'm thinking about fighting your sergeant with the power fist, because he's probably 1 wound anyway. All I have to do is at least connect at the 4-up.
Well, I meant like 2 wound terminators too. Like 2 wound terminators.
Well,
the brutal might make
in your Terminators, it's going to make a very big difference there. I was thinking about guys outside Terminator armor. When it's in Terminator armor, I think you got to be a lot more careful of when you want to put a guy into a challenge. Like, you better have been charging. If you did all that, you'd be sitting on 5 attacks. Your weapon skill hopefully beats theirs out, unless they're a special Terminator that... Actually, no, you're on a 6. You should beat them out no matter what. And at least you have Shred. So you have Shred on a Breaching 4-up. You're probably only wounding them on 3s, so your 1s and 2s you get another roll at, which I like. I'd rather the weapon not be huge strength because I want to actually get rerolls in there to try to get my 4-ups. So Benyar's hoping they fail their 4-ups. Or potentially 5-ups, depending on what they have. He can take a jump pack, so he might not be bad with even with the other one we talked about, the Destroyer or Assault Squad, if you want to put jump packs on them. If that's the way you want to get across the board.
And he now begins to insta-kill.
No.
He doesn't insta-kill, sorry. Frag Grenade's still a new one.
No.
I thought it was +2 strength. But still, that's it. Now he's wounded on 2, so maybe...
Well, just think about where... There's good spots to put him.
Oh, because then you're missing more shreds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
want
can
more
see that.
shreds.
Yeah, that might not be quite as good. But at least having that, or maybe he can go with just a normal Assault Squad.
Better against a Dread? It works against a Dread. It hurts against regular infantry. It's an interesting spot to be.
Yeah.
140 though is not bad at all.
Pretty cheap.
No. I'd field him. If I have a loyalist army, I would absolutely be putting together a model for this guy.
Or 160 if you give him the jetpack. That's still not
to have
bad.
that jump pack.
That's
I kind of like him that way because then you can have a pretty good character going with one of your jump pack units. As world leaders, you're gonna have him.
He's just short of a Praetor.
I think you should. All right, last guy.
All right, this one's fun. Gahlan Surlak. He has 150 points for weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5, strength and toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 5, 3 attacks, leadership 9, save 2 up. So that is going to be your Centurion stat line with an extra wound for good measure. He's got Artificer armor, a needle pistol.
No, you
don't see many of those nowadays. A Narthecium, Flesh Ripper, which is his personal weapon, an Iron Halo, and Frag and Crack grenades. He's a unique character, World Eater. He has Master of the Legion. He's an independent character with Bitter Duty, Sacred Trust, Traitor, and a personal Warlord trait, Abhorrent Augmentations, which is fun. So, if he's your Warlord, you can choose up to 3 tactical squads or despoiler squads in any combination to have the abhorrent augmentations performed upon them. They gain the Bitter Duty rule and the bonus strength, but they lose a ballistic skill, oh boo-hoo, and lose Heart of the Legion. Okay, that's a little upsetting. And they lose the line subtype. Yeah, okay, it's a trade. And you get an extra moving phase reaction. But if you get that paired with the Chain Axe, they're now strength 6, which is pretty nice.
They lose Line.
And Heart of the Legion. So they're not hitting that 4-up Feel No Pain. They'll be sitting at a 5-up.
Because he does have a Narthecium.
Mm-hmm.
But he wouldn't be able to go with them anyway.
By the way, for those curious,
Bitter Duty.
Correct. But you can't throw an Apothecary in there and have a 4-up because they're now Bitter Duty.
I have no idea why he has Sacred Trust.
It's because he's an Apothecary.
Do all the Apothecaries have that?
No. He is like the big guy. What's it called? The
Primus.
Yes, what is it? Primus. Primus Medicate. Yes.
Okay, because all it is failed it will not die rolls, and I was like, okay.
Which nothing has.
Okay.
But it's there. But it's there.
All right. And his weapon.
I'm like you.
Yes, and his weapon, sorry. It's a power weapon. He gets a bonus strength, AP2, melee, unwieldy, and shred. So
you're not taking him for the weapon.
It's like a powered up Chain Axe. It's not bad. The unwieldy hurts. But it's not. I mean, it's nice. Shred is nice.
I mean, you're taking him for that Warlord trait. That's what you're doing it for. And I do like that.
Yeah. And potentially a Bitter Duty unit with Feel No Pain is fun. Like if you really love Destroyers.
Destroyers. That's it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And more attacks.
Oh, okay.
He'd be a lot of fun in Iron Hands with their special unit. Too bad
Yeah.
he's a world leader.
I mean, I
Less cool
like this
than
guy
the
more.
last dude.
The
in my
last
opinion.
dude is
Really?
he's a nice utility piece. You know, he's what was he? He was 140 points. He can get a little bit more expensive when put a jump pack. He kind of go just about anywhere. He can do a decent job. This guy won. He is Master of the Legion. The last guy was not. So if you're not bringing a Master of the Legion, otherwise, if you kind of were cheaping out, wanted to bring one HQ, maybe you want to bring a bunch of several Consularis and all, which they had no special Consularis. But he can at least open up your Rites of War for you. And I mean, if you're bringing,
And one of them actually pairs nicely with that Sacred Trust. Crimson Path grants it will not die, so you actually do get to use it.
And he can, he can give extra strength to, say, your despoiler squads. I don't care about it for tactical squads. That doesn't sound any fun to me. But putting on your despoiler squads, I said now you're essentially swinging strength 6, getting that extra strength. We talked about before how good that warlord trait was that gave you the extra. I can just give it to these units.
And you already have the extra strength from the chain axe. So you're straining at strength. Yeah, that's just it. And shred.
Yeah, winning on twos.
Winning on twos.
Now it feels like they can really get some work done. And I don't care about the ballista skill because they had a bolt pistol. I was probably not going to fire it because then you're going to, reaction shoot me back. I don't think I've shot many pistols this edition.
So Sacred Trust will only work on himself and only in a specific Rite of War. Because the units he could join because of his bitter duty all have 1 wound each.
Oh, okay.
I just had to do a quick check on it will not die and all the other stuff. I mean, it's cute, but
it's not a make or break.
No, I like what Dave said about the despoilers. Despoilers can take its jump packs. Can
as soon
they,
as you do that, then you are an assault destroyer squad.
No.
Yes.
The despoilers are the troops unit.
Yes.
They're assault marines.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they're walking assault marines. My apologies. Yes.
You're thinking of destroyers, which is the unit that actually has bitter duty built in.
Oh, okay.
This would be great if you could pick a veteran squad, but you can't.
I'm not saying it's amazing. I mean, I think if you're taking characters, I think Kharn is probably the number 1. But to me, this guy, I would put him second because of what he can do. I like characters that really change what you do, not just characters that kind of fit nicely. He really changes up what you could do with this army, and I really like that. All right, why don't we get to final thoughts on what might be depending on how long this goes, might be the shortest episode we've done so far on any Legion. Dan, final thoughts. Let's start with you.
I mean, they're straightforward and they work. Okay, so we have 2 local people who play World Eaters. And I've played against them multiple times in 1st edition and now in 2nd edition with the new player. And I mean, I'm skewed because I play Mechanicum, but I'll put it this way. What saves me is usually my high toughness, and because they only have a 3-up save. So usually what saves me is my high toughness. World Eaters terrify the living shit out of me because, my high toughness and large amount of wounds. World Eaters terrify the shit out of me because they get the extra strength, usually from the Warlord, and they have so many damn attacks that already shred that I only have a 3-up save. I'm still going to take a shit ton of wounds, which has happened every single time I played. And of course, my robots are only weapon skill 3, now weapon skill 4, so they're hitting me on 3s. So I could only imagine if that's what they do against my robots, what they do actually against normal powered space marines. You know what I mean? Because if my toughness and my wounds are the only thing that save me, and they just kind of go, okay, here's 60 attacks that get to reroll their wounds, I'm still taking 30 saves and I'm wiping out a squad. So I can only imagine what happens if they just hit a normal tactical squad, So yeah, I love them. This is a really cool Legion. And I still want to try Blood Hunger with the Contemptor because that's stupid hilarious. That is, but top tier, awesome. The fact that the Contemptor heals himself as he kills. But yeah, no, I love these guys. These are great.
Any final thoughts?
Their special units are just fun. Tactically, when using them, actually, I do want to mention this. You want some fast units just to kind of herd things into place. Probably the biggest threats to a World Eater's list are copious firepower, especially when that gets to Overwatch, and withdraw movements, because it makes it harder to actually get that charge off. So what you can do is take a fast-moving unit that can fly, such as a land speeder. That's one that I've heard worked pretty well for people, and just throw it behind an enemy squad, like just behind them, so they can't really advance towards it. And then you have another squad move up and kind of pincer movement them. It's one of those legions where you have to set up the charges, but once you do, the reward is so direct and obvious.
Yeah. This overall is probably the most, it's very fitting for this, but it's the most single-minded legion that we've looked at. They want to assault. They want to be in close combat. Everything that they have in every way, every rule. I mentioned in the beginning, like Emperor's Children, okay, a lot of their stuff points from the close combat, but they can do shooting. They have stuff for that. They have some special units for it. Like, there's options there. Like, everything here is pure close combat. That is what these guys are going to excel at. Having said that, as Steve mentioned, there is difficulties in that you have to get there. And the way you get there is making sure your opponent doesn't, shoot your squads down horribly, either by having some of your own firepower, or maybe by having protection for your units, transports, whether they be dedicated or not. Ideally, things you can assault out of. We talked about some of the other rites of war. This would be a great spot for some of those other rites of war. We'll look at theirs shortly, but some of the other rites of war where it gives you transport abilities and all of that. But I know from what I've seen, like I said, one of the biggest issues, if someone shoots well and you're trying to run across the board, the question is, are you going to have enough left? If it's a big enough game, you probably should. But I think these guys struggle, and they could potentially be a little bit more demoralizing to play as in smaller games, because usually in smaller games, shooting, I think, is more important in smaller games, and losses stack up faster because you don't have as much. Or, oh, you're going to assault me. You're only going to get one assault because you only have like 4 units, and they're the only assaulting in. Okay, so I know I get to shoot them. Like, you want to be able to mass things. You don't want to go at people piecemeal. If you can, as many assaults as you can get off in one turn, the better, because they're only going to be able to react so much, even if they have bonuses then. You don't want your opponents to be able to dictate it. I said fast land spear, something that corrals people in. So, but they are cool, and they have a very nice look, with the sort of the white with the blues and all. I think that's a very good look for them. You could play a very clean, or these guys play exceptionally well by dirtying up your paint scheme, a lot of blood, a lot of mud, and everything like that. So I think you can have a lot of fun with actually how you paint these guys. Though if you hate whites or off-whites, it might be a little bit rough. Although you can hide a lot of imperfections with your washes and all to dirty them down.
And the new ones GW put out recently are really good for making this a very light process. The new Soulblight Gray is a great overall wash for white, and then take the new Nuln Oil just in the recesses, and it works out pretty well for a straightforward white scheme. Zenithal priming is also your friend. Start with the dark gray and then do white from overhead. Just a couple tips to kind of get that working, because I did do
so I'm going to ask
15 these guys for a demo list.
I'm going to ask a controversial, opinionated question here. Are you ready? Do you prefer the World Eaters with a light blue trim or a darker blue trim?
Trim? Yeah. You mean secondary color?
Dark
secondary
blue, I think,
color,
contrasts better.
So the ones that I painted, I think, are perfect, which is a mix of Palisar blue and ultramarine blue.
Okay.
The two contrasts.
No, I know. I use them.
It's a medium color with medium vibrancy.
So it's funny because I tend, and does not insult anyone who painted this way, don't worry. Your stills look beautiful, probably. I never liked, and this is just me personally, I never liked the lighter blues on Forge Worlds. It's the same reason I never liked like for those who like know how GW does their Khorne demons, like their blood letters. I do not like that obnoxious bright Blood Angels red. For the same reason, I don't like this like kind of obnoxious baby blue. I kind of want it a
You
little bit
tend to
darker.
do pretty dark schemes, though.
And
pretty much everything. You go
yes,
very dark.
yes, I do. The ogres were the only time
but
I
that's because most of
branched.
it's
You saw
skin.
the ogres right on Friday. Yeah, and fur, and no, I did the clothing. Oh, you haven't seen like the actual ogres. The clothes are like yellows
but
and
that's very
greens
fitting
with
for
red
ogres.
dots and stuff.
I
Yeah,
prefer the bit of a darker blue because I think it contrasts better.
but
But I don't dislike the lighter colors.
I don't dislike it, but I prefer it the other way. Oh, Steve just posted his pictures as we were talking. Yeah, no, I like that. In fact, so I like it better than the Forge World, Steve. I still would want it like darker.
Right.
You're a strange man.
I love dark skin. Like I remember, I grew up with frickin'
So did like
Blanche
everyone,
and
like
I
most
have
of the people
actually
did.
signed. Well, I have a signed. True, I have a signed art book that I always forget the damn name of the person.
Might
I
be
want to
right.
say it's Jess Goodwin. But it's like a signed art book.
Which
If you
book?
ever look at his stuff, it's just like it's not Blanche level, but it's like it's still very, very dark and like his Mechanicus stuff is just disgustingly just awful to look at in a good way. Um, that's why I get inspired from. That's why. But yeah, no, it's people do light blue. It's fine. I don't care.
I also just
Still looks
noticed
good.
flipping through the Forge World website that Kharn, he goes in barehanded in the battle. Yes, he does.
Yes.
Wait, no, wait, what?
He's so
Yeah.
swole, the armor just won't fit.
Oh yeah, he always. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that's the same thing on the 40K mod. I've always wondered that. I had to look that up. Yeah, no, it's the same in 40K as well, which is always funny.
Another fun tidbit about the World Eaters. They are the primary users of the Serum pattern helm, which is
Really?
almost Mark 7.
I did not know that.
Yup.
Neat.
Yeah, because the Serum pattern weapons were made on I'm blanking on the Forge World. It's the one that the good doggos come from. Well, the evil doggos.
I
Audax.
know. Yes.
Forge World. Oh no. I talked about them when we did the Titanicus episode.
Oh, that feels like so many years ago.
But yes,
it was like 3 months.
yeah, they do the Serum pattern helms. Like that's something that they have more of than other. They have all the helms, but they're the ones that are most known for the Serum pattern helm. And their veterans actually have the bunny ears some of the time.
Your red butchers look really nice too. I will put I like the integrated chain fist that they do, and I freaking love their power axes and like their helmets. I think their helmets are. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Are those
the new ones or the old ones?
No, the red butchers. But hold on, is that helmet? Are those the nails in the helmet?
Essentially only the front and the sides. I know it doesn't cover the top. That's the idea.
Top of the helmet.
To me.
Oh no, it's a symbol. I see how they painted it. It's not the nails. It's like the World Eater symbol. Okay. I have to look at the painted ones to check. I thought that was the nails coming out the helmet. I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. No, it's not. But yeah, no, I love the angular helmets. Very gladiatorial looking. Those power axes look beefy. But the chain axe, in my opinion, the chain fist, the way it's just integrated into the thing is just so great.
All right. I think that will do it for us tonight for World Eaters. And that'll do it for us tonight. For the next episode, plan is to continue going through the legions as well. That would put us to Ultramarines next. As well as to go back and do more of the Rites of War. We've recorded most of the ones from the past. I'm still in the process of editing those. We have recorded most of them, but we still have some that we haven't done. In particular, the Dark Angel we haven't done yet, because we know that's going to be almost an episode onto itself, which is how many they have and our comparisons we want to be able to make. So we'll be getting to that. As always, though, thank you, anyone and everyone who does listen. As I mentioned at the beginning, if you are enjoying the content, subscribing, liking, all that kind of stuff really does help us out. If you want to reach out to us, Email's currently still the best way, as I still work on a few other things. That's terrainkickersnj@gmail.com. Or you can post up anything on terms of the YouTube. I do go through those. All of us actually do. But I'm the one who controls the actual account. But the others post in as well. So if you have any thoughts, questions, comments that you want to leave, we have plenty of ways to get a hold of us. All right, well, until next time, have some good hobby and some great gaming.